Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is VTech Guy. I'm here with my host, as always, Mr. Chris Mullins Jr. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. About yourself?
Pretty great, pretty great. I'm not broken, that's for sure. So, we also
Yeah.
got the uncles of the John here. My Uncle John, how are you doing?
They kidnapped me,
My
as usual.
biological uncle, who does not come around for Thanksgiving
John's
anymore.
favorite flavor of brainwash is banana.
That's great. So let's talk about the broken brilliance that is Matt Hardy and the potential what if story on what if he never goes broken. Now you're thinking that he'll go broken sometime this summer. It'll be a broken summer.
I'm telling you that within the next 60 days, the broken stuff will officially start.
But what if it never does? Do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think they'll simply fade away and classify themselves as obsolete in terms of, titles changing hands, and they'll go and just bump around here and there with someone else trying to get them over until they're done? Or what are you thinking?
I think that we could see this one of many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you asked me before we had gone on air with this tonight. You asked me, do you think this is a failure of a return if they don't go broken? No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
They won the tag titles. It's already over more than the point of the nostalgia act of the Dudleys. So I think it's still already above that, and at the end of the day, we can still end up seeing them both take singles runs after they lose those tag titles.
True, but do you think there's no room for Matt Hardy though? Because we got Brock Lesnar, who some people are saying is slated to hold on to this thing till the next Mania. Which, even if that isn't true, you got to look at the main event scene and how awkwardly it would be to place Matt in there with the likes of Roman Reigns, Ambrose, Miz, Rollins, Balor, stuff like that. I could definitely see, Finn Balor working a good angle with Hardy if push came to shove. They had to, but
we could say the same thing about Jinder Mahal, but look, we're that way.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, you just never know. It could literally be overnight type thing. That's the one thing I've really liked about this brand split is some of these, like, hey, you know what, we're gonna insert this person into this scene. It's almost an overnight type thing. Yeah, on both shows. Like, it isn't even just like even like with the whole, hey, the Miz just won a #1 contender match on Raw this past Monday.
In the main event.
Yeah, in the main event. So he gets to move on to take on Dean Ambrose for that Intercontinental title.
Again.
Yeah, but it was a huge win he had against the likes of
Finn
Balor and
Seth
Rollins.
Yeah. Do you think that? Because I think coming into this, Matt was the one that really stuck out that he'll be successful, if he goes broken. But do you think Jeff, for the lovable purposes of why people adore him in WWE, do you think he is having the upside here? Or do you think it's just the curiosity that everybody's holding on to of, when is Matt going to go over the edge and go broken or something of that nature?
I think at this point, like I said, at this point, I would be severely surprised if he doesn't go broken.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a definite, like, it would be something that would actually take me by surprise if he doesn't go broken. I think it's more of a when rather than if.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just waiting for that one moment. Like, that's why they have those titles, because you see, once they get the thing, I could see them dropping those titles, and that's where everything starts.
Now let's fantasy book here. Say it's the end of the summer, and the Hardys lose the titles to the Revival for some crazy reason. Dash Wilder comes back at SummerSlam. Him and Scott Dawson, they go there, they tear it up. The Revival wins the Raw Tag Team titles. What's next for the Hardys? I mean, given you could say that they'll bounce around in the tag division a little bit longer, but what's going to be the end goal if they don't go broken come next year's Mania?
Like I said,
will they feud with each other once more? Or?
At that point, I could see you could see another feud with them.
Mm-hmm.
You could see them both, like one of them go to like maybe the Intercontinental title scene, one of them go to the World title scene,
mm-hmm.
or both of them go to the World title scene.
I couldn't see that with our current state of how we are in WWE when it comes to, sadly, their brand. That world title.
Like I said, WWE isn't one of those things anymore that where like they truthfully stick with long-term booking.
Mm-hmm.
Just from what you hear all the time, like I just read something the other day about Alexa Bliss winning the title. They went back and forth from the Monday before the whole pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. To the pay-per-view.
Till the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They went like it was like 4 times they went back and forth and said, "Hey, what are we gonna do about this finish here?"
Mm-hmm.
So that's what like I don't know if long-term booking is still even a thing in WWE. I mean, it might vaguely be there, but I feel like it's more of a, hey, you know what? Long-term booking isn't gonna really be here, but you know what's gonna be here is, hey, this sounds like something that we could run with right now.
Do you think the Hardys will switch brands?
I think that would be another thing that would help them. Like if they were to, if one of them were to go to SmackDown, one of them were to go to Raw. If they were to switch things up as it pertains to being single stars,
mm-hmm.
that would you could give one to Raw, one to SmackDown. That way, they're not overshadowing each other, but they're not getting overshadowed.
I was going to say, that was the big thing I thought when they were coming back to the WWE. I thought they were going to be on SmackDown. I thought they would have fit much nicer on SmackDown, but...
Because SmackDown's always been that show where with SmackDown, you really don't know what you're getting,
mm-hmm.
whereas with Raw, like, you already know what agenda they're trying to push with Raw.
Yeah.
You already know that they got their Roman, they got their Braun that they've been pushing for a while. You obviously have Lesnar, who...
We got Cesaro feuding with the Hardys right now.
Their name actually is what was their name?
Something goofy.
The Professional Warriors.
Yeah.
Something which is the stupidest name I've ever heard, by the way. I really hope that's not their real name. I just saw that. So that might be literally the stupidest tag team name I think I've ever heard.
Uncle John, what are you feeling on this subject matter? Are you a fan of the Broken Brilliance that is Matt Hardy? Because I know you didn't watch much of the Anthem Owls company in the in the sky, Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever you want to call it.
I'll be honest. At first I wasn't a fan of it,
mm-hmm.
but I kind of gave in after, well, not after, but during WrestleMania 33. I was like, it's that good. I can't really say no to it. So I'm like,
so John's over there going delete.
Now, how do you feel, if you never get to see that in WWE? Like, is that not going to impact you at all because, you didn't follow it as much when it was such a prominent thing on the indies? And that's why people wanted them back in the WWE, to see how they could mold with people, whether it be the Wyatts or the New Day,
I don't think...
Or just work with the budget that the WWE has to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it would really be that big of a loss to me either way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they don't, oh well. But if they do, then great. That would be quite the entertainment perspective when it comes to just the entertainment value itself. But I really don't see a loss. It either happens or it doesn't. That's just the way I see it.
Yep.
I do hope if they do go broken and whatnot, I do hope they go all out with this thing, and we get, obviously, Rebby goes on camera, Maxwell, Senor Benjamin, Vanguard 1. I hope we get the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we'll get a drone, sadly, this time.
I don't think we'll get the drone, but I think we could get the Senor Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Vince would love to book Maxwell.
Yeah.
I just know Vince. I've known Vince McMahon as a booker enough that I know that he would love booking Maxwell into storyline shit.
So finally, what's the ETA cutoff? Like, how long do you think they will wait to pull the trigger on if they go broken, you know? And then if they don't, will it become, you know, just another thing where Hardys are around here?
I would be severely, like I said, it's more of a if not or a when, not if.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very surprised if we're sitting here on July 1st and they're not broken yet.
I would say roughly around SummerSlam if they can pull it off.
Or that whole thing we were just talking about with the SummerSlam thing. The night after SummerSlam might be a good kickoff point.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking around John's time with the SummerSlam, night after SummerSlam, you know, big kickoff into the next big feud or whatever.
Because that's the thing is like they always try to get you at the end of the summer with one big thing to be like, oh crap, now I'm really gonna, because that's when because obviously they have a big demographic of kids that are still in school and whatnot, and that's when they try to get you with the whole, hey, we know that school's coming up and we know that football's coming up, but you want to stick around and watch this because things are really getting fun.
I think the one thing that's really going to be kind of a home run hitter on this one is before we even come to the conclusion about not if but when they do it, is if they're going to actually help the Hardys beat the case of actually winning the gimmicks.
Well, that's the thing all on its own.
That's Vince McMahon is it's the whole thing that it's actually become an actual line of mine. Vince McMahon likes money more than his children. It's not just a clever line.
I think if Vince really wanted those gimmicks badly,
he would do whatever it takes.
I think he would fight teeth and toenail for it.
Teeth and toenail.
I would not want to go up against Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is a guy who we can say all we want about him, but he's beat Congress. Not many people can say they beat Congress. There's not many people on this planet who can say that, and he's done that.
He's definitely defeated some of the higher up officials when it comes to a federal.
He beat
bureaucrats.
WCW when there was a point during that whole thing where no one thought it was even possible. Everyone, as big as the WWE is now, said, "Oh, they're going to be dead," rather than WCW.
Well, you know, Vince did say that Ted Turner had no idea that there's a huge difference between wrestling and entertainment.
It's a great iteration right there, John. And with that, we'll let you, the viewers, tell us down below in the comments, what are your thoughts? Will Matt Hardy ever go broken? Brother Nero, what's going to happen with them? And will the King Maxwell ever return to TV screens?
Will somebody ever poop their pants? That's a good question.
Until then, keep it safe and not stinky.